Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the peak-to-peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists.
Hello there, everybody. My name is Jamie Lammers, and welcome back to the Mountaineer Podcast. Surprise! Today I'm airing a double feature of the audio library segment featuring staff member Sara Sandstrom reading two articles from the Mountaineer to celebrate Black History Month. The first article is an article from the most recent edition of the Mountaineer, and the second article is from the Mountaineer Archives. Without any further ado, let's jump right in to the first audio library segment of an article from this week's edition of the Mountaineer, Volume 48, Issue 18, published on February 20th, 2025. Sara, take it away.
Black History Month, The Lincoln Hills Trolley, by Jimmy Keith and Lynn Hirschman. February is Black History Month. Most peak-to-peak residents know that we have our own unique contribution to Black history here in Gilpin County. The Lincoln Hills community, which was created in 1922 as a resort in the Rocky Mountains that would serve as an oasis for those suffering from racism. At the time, and for many years, it was the only leisure destination created by and for African Americans west of the Mississippi River. Most of the community consisted of small lots with tiny cabins, but there was also the central gathering point of Wink's Lodge, a small hotel, now a National Historic Landmark, which over the years hosted a number of Black celebrities as well as members of the African American middle class. What many of us didn't know is that for some time there was a trolley car located along South Beaver Road in the Lincoln Hills area. According to Jimmy Keith, the trolleys were sold for $100 in Denver, and two were hauled to South Beaver Road to be used as picnic gazebos. The fire department burned one trolley when cleaning up the South Beaver Creek area, but fortunately, they then got in touch with me, and I moved the second car to the Wolf Tongue Mill property in Nederland, where I stored it. In the photos, the one of me walking next to the car, the long-haired guy, and a child inside the car show the condition it was in back in 1974. I cleaned out the debris and found picnic supplies used by the Lincoln Hills community. The car is significant as it was part of early Colorado Black history. This cannot be overemphasized. I have also attached a couple of photos of myself moving the car to my storage yard in Nederland. I subsequently sold the car to the Forney Museum of Transportation in Denver. The museum later abandoned the car when they moved to their new location on Brighton Boulevard. I later saw a newspaper article showing the car abandoned in a junk-filled field east of Denver. I believe that is where the city of Arvada discovered it. The trolley has now been restored and is ready to go on display in Arvada. For the Mountaineer newspaper, this is Sara Sandstrom.
Thank you, Sara, for reading that article. If you want to see the photos that were mentioned in this article and check out two links to the City of Arvada's website featuring information about the trolley, then I will link the online version of the article in the podcast episode description. And now for the second article reading from Volume 45, Issue 17 of the Mountaineer, published on Thursday, February 17th, 2022. Take it away, Sara.
Central City's Clara Brown. Written by Sara Sandstrom. Clara Brown is a common enough name for someone born in the first part of the 1800s in the United States. The Clara Brown I am writing about was no common woman. She was extraordinary. I cannot say when Clara was born. No one knows. I cannot say where she was born. No one knows exactly. One of the many ways to dehumanize slaves in the United States was to not record birth dates or birthplaces. They were property. Their value was determined by how much they could work. Their lives controlled by the whims of the slave master. Clara was born into this inhumane, cruel, disgusting institution. It is known that Clara lived part of her life in Kentucky. Her husband and children were sold. Allow me to repeat that. Her husband and children were sold. They were sold away from her. Let that sink in for a moment. She spent the rest of her life searching and praying to be reunited with her family. The possibility of that happening was next to none. How Clara received her freedom before the Emancipation Proclamation is unclear. We do know that she found her way to the Kansas Territory. Because she would have been denied the right to travel by stagecoach, she had to work her way further west. Gold was discovered in Colorado. Clara cooked for a group of people going to Denver. The year was likely 1859 or 1860. Clara may have been in her 50s at the time she arrived in Central City. She did not go to Colorado to find gold, but she became a laundress. Clara Brown established her own laundry business, and it flourished. Being a laundress in the 1860s was back-breaking work. Hauling water alone would be intense. One had to have a constant supply of cut wood to keep water boiling. Soap making and ironing, the tasks were endless. And don't forget the altitude and steep roads in Central City. On top of all of this, Clara, referred to as Aunt Clara, cooked for miners. She was often present for the births of babies as a midwife. She nursed miners back to health. As well, her generosity and unfailing goodwill to the people of Gilpin County was beyond belief. Public records show us that Clara Brown owned property in Central City, Idaho Springs, and Denver. With the wealth she accumulated, she helped build more than one church in Central City. Her financial contributions for the good of her community continued despite losing her business in the Great Fire in Central City in 1874. After the fire, she even rebuilt her laundry business. Clara never stopped searching for her children. She even traveled back east more than once on her quest to be reunited with her family. In 1879, she was in Kansas. The era of Reconstruction had ended, and there were a number of African Americans fleeing the extremely oppressive South. The pathways to freedom and success for African Americans were blocked by violence and lynching and new laws of racial segregation. Activist and co-founder of the NAACP, W.E.B. Du Bois, summarized this time in the United States. The slave was set free, stood a brief moment in the sun, and then moved back again toward slavery. The terror in the southern states and dead-end sharecropping led some African Americans to Kansas and further west. Clara Brown provided passage for many African Americans to come from Kansas to Colorado. She assisted them further to help them become established in Colorado. She worked tirelessly to help those in need and was held in high regard and known throughout the state. As she advanced in years, Clara moved to Denver, and this time others took care of her. Money was raised in Gilpin County and Denver to assist Clara in her old age. One of her greatest joys occurred in 1882. After more than 40 years, she was reunited with one of her daughters, Eliza Jane. Their joy must have been profound. Eliza Jane lived with and cared for her mother in her last years. Clara Brown died in 1885 and was buried in Denver's Riverside Cemetery. Colorado's governor, dignitaries, and friends attended her funeral. She has been honored since her death with a chair at the Central City Opera House and an engraved plaque at St. James Methodist Church in Central City. In 1977, a stained glass window was placed in the Capitol building in Denver to honor this amazing Colorado pioneer. Clara Brown had a positive impact on Central City and the state of Colorado. She touched the lives of so many, regardless of race or social class. Clara Brown made the world a better place with her generous spirit and loving soul. You can read more about Clara Brown in the book Clara, an Ex-Slave in Gold Rush, Colorado, by Gilpin County's own Roger Baker. This is Sara Sandstrom with The Mountaineer.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for reading both of those articles for us on the Mountaineer podcast to celebrate Black History Month. We'll be continuing Black History Month discussions tomorrow on the Mountaineer podcast with a segment from our correspondent, Marianne Rosen. Until then, though, if you want to share this segment or others around with whoever you see fit, then be sure to head to the mtnear.com and scroll near to the bottom of our homepage, or check out our podcast's main hub at the mtnearpodcast.buzzsprout.com to see a full archive of all of our episodes. If you want to be involved in the podcast in any way, shape, or form, then email me at media@themountaineer.com and we'll get something sorted for you. And if you want to give feedback about anything involving the podcast, head to our individual episode descriptions and send us a text. We'd love to hear from you. I'll see you guys tomorrow with our correspondent, Marianne Rosen. Have a great rest of your day!
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code PODCAST when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local Peak to Peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.